Welcome to the Bitcoin Roadshow. I've recently learned that having your head down here isn't actually as good as having it there for some reason, or here, but not there, or there, or there. Anyway, here we are. I haven't done a Bitcoin Roadshow for a while. You'll have to excuse me, the way I've got... wait a minute. Maybe prop it up against there. There. Done. So I knew a guy in Atlanta a while ago, and he made this thing. It went around your neck, and it was basically like, those things you can bend. They look like a shower hose tube, and you can bend them different shapes. Well, he had that for your neck, and you could turn it into a kind of rocking horse thing where it could sit on. You could change it into all sorts of different things. You could put it when you're wearing on your bike. You can put it around you, so you get your phone here, or you can do it if you're just filming something. You turn it around. I had like a wee swivel on it. Really good idea. I told him he should go to Kickstarter. He never did it. His name was D, from Atlanta. Anyway, Atlanta Hawks. I thought it was a good idea. He was looking for a patent. I was like, don't patent. Just go ahead and make. Just go, because they get stolen anyway. Chinese don't obey patents. Who cares? Just make it. And if anything, just send. I've seen lots of good ideas, including from myself, that get wasted. I'm going to get to Bitcoin soon. Don't worry. That get wasted because people waste their time through the patent offices, which is why I had an idea to change all that up. And it looks like someone else has had the idea too, because it's going to be on there's a blockchain company that are doing this also to do with patents, right? Makes a lot of sense. Making things searchable. You don't have to find out after you've paid a lawyer heaps of money that you've still encroached on someone else's patent because your lawyer didn't do a good enough job, because that's what happens in the patent world. Personally, I'd rather see no patents at all, and just have people produce things. The human race just produce stuff, or everything to be open source. I'm not a capitalist. I'm not a socialist either. I'm not a capitalist. I think they're both extremely flawed. I've mentioned many times. But getting into Bitcoin, this is what I think at the moment. A friend of mine, he's always telling me and has for years, that, and he hasn't been into Bitcoin as long as I have, but he's been into trading longer than I have, and into the crypto sphere, looking at things. I bought in Bitcoin very early, but I didn't become part of any community. You know what I mean? I just thought, I'll sit on it and see how it goes, and kind of, like a sleeper agent waiting for it to go up in value. And anyway, so I've been very conscious now not to react at news, but also, I suppose everyone does it. You want to check what other people think. So I check what he thinks. I check what other people that are into crypto think. Like another friend in New Zealand, my friend in Poland, the one I'm just talking about, and a few others. I've got a couple of friends in New Zealand who are into crypto, and a couple in the UK. But yeah, anyway, so I like to see what they're thinking. I don't care if they've only been in crypto for a year. It doesn't really matter. It's once you start getting a knack for it, you have your ideas, you have your justifications for those ideas. But I also look at some of the YouTube stuff still. And there's some channels like The Modern Investor that I really like. I think he's based in Denmark or something, but he sounds American, but English isn't his first language. He's quite a funny guy, actually. And Chico Crypto, who my other friend actually put me onto. The Crypto Daily from Scotland. There's quite a few pretty good YouTubers out there, but I often don't agree with them. And the trading side of things as well, is that there's a few really, like Francis from Crypto Sniper, I think is the most consistently good when it comes to using technical analysis. He uses HVF method. He has very, very good, very solid predictions. Now, for example, his predictions were better than any other TA that I've seen recently when it comes to this recent pump. And that includes calling it out for what it is. Maybe not a 100% organic pump, but as we've seen, the pump we've seen has come from a mixture of money on spot exchanges. So that is exchanges that sell from fiat currencies into Bitcoin or into other crypto as well. So it's not just printing of Tether, dumping it on the market. You can see people are saying, oh yeah, Tether, so many million Tether just dumped on Bitfinex, right? Then you can see the price going up. Those are obviously, if you can see these hidden trades and stuff, you get the information about hidden trades in enough time, you can definitely make consistent money on the upswings and downswings. Because I sometimes fantasy trade, right? What would it have been if I had traded right now? Just make a note of that, and I make a note on my screen, and that would have gone up. Because sometimes you do a trade based on what you think should happen, and you make the trade, and it goes the other way. So it's trying to make a trend of scenarios. When I go to the casino, there's a game I used to play in a casino in Australia called Baccarat. Yeah, Baccarat. I'd never played it before, and I thought it was interesting, and it seemed to have this pattern, and I made consistently good money. And this is in the casino in Sydney. I made consistently good money on it. And same in Vegas. When I go, there's certain machines I play there, but I always keep the lines low. I don't gamble very much. I'm just saying when I do, that's all I do. I don't do blackjack table or something like that unless I'm playing craps. I'll play with the house sometimes. That's about it. Just because strategically it seems like the smartest way to play, and it has made me the most money in the past. Anyway, so it's the same thing when I look at the news from people. When I look at news from different channels, I think, well, how frequently has this guy been right? How frequently has this guy been right? And they use all different methods. There's one guy that, again, my mate in Poland put me onto, Steve from Optical Art Crypto, and he does the Fibonacci rings. His calls for up and down are very bad, but his calls for actions at a pivot point are very good. So you'll see when it hits this ring, it'll go up or down. When it hits this ring, it'll go up or down. It might follow this ring upwards. It might follow this line. It might bounce off this line here. You know, so he's I think if you marry up what he has with people like CryptoFace, because there's other people that have very similar to Market Cipher that CryptoFace has. I can't think of the companies now, but there's quite a few of them out there that have very, very similar what are they called? The code that you apply to TradingView charts. Anyway, this thing. So what I was just going to say quickly was, I don't want to be. This will be my last video about anything to do with trading. Well, I'm hoping it will be, because I'm thinking to myself, I haven't got a trading channel anyway, and also people who are going to be watching my channel mostly will be people who are thinking about getting into crypto. And that's the reason why I started Cryptoversity originally on Facebook, was because my friends who were just getting into it. It was to stop me having to repeat messages again and again and again and again, because it was taking all my time. It really was taking so much time. It was ridiculous. And now I've learned that those people aren't really interested until things peak. So that's why I've stopped doing any updates on the Cryptoversity on Facebook. It has what it has there. The information is old. It's not worth my time. If someone comes to me again in the future, I'm just not going to waste my time anymore. You can look through the old stuff. You can tell me the stuff's out of date. I can't be bothered putting my effort in when people don't really appreciate it. Because it really is an excuse for me to say, talk to the hand, talk to that page, whatever. Because I put the effort in and no one gave a fuck before, right? So the next time, because that will happen again when it goes to sub 12k, and it's probably heading towards 12k soon, I think. I've just been saying to my friend, my prediction is that that we're going to have a similar halving to what we had with Litecoin, where it is going to pump up, and we are going to reach not new highs but recent highs. We're going to reach. So I reckon I don't reckon it'll get to 14, because I still think it's going to stay in a descending wedge overall. So we had the 20k, we had the 14k, we had it's gone up to around about 10 recently. I think it's going to go a little bit higher than that, but I think overall it's not going to reach that previous 14k. It'll probably just reach what they think the halvening should do, which is 12, because that's the average amount in the world. The average price for mining Bitcoin is 6,000 at the moment. After the halving, that average price will be 12k. Although some people will still be mining at 6, because right now some people are still mining at 3k. Actually, some even less. If you live in Siberia, I think it's something like 2,000. So it's 1/3 what the average is, you see. So it might be the same again. Some people might be mining around about 4k. So that's the price it can get dumped to if a powerful enough miner that have enough coin wants to dump the market to force the others out, right? Now, the reason I'm mentioning this now is because this doesn't just apply to traders. This applies to hodlers. This applies to people who are dollar cost averaging, which is what I put it this way. Unless you come from a trading background, unless you were trading stocks and derivatives and Forex before, just don't get into trading. Just don't bother doing it. It's not worth it. The market is completely saturated by bots. I've already mentioned in the past the company I was doing some work for. We built an exchange called Private. When we spoke to some of these market maker companies, and it is pretty much, there's like 4 or 5 main companies that everyone's dealing with. I can't think of any of the names of them right now. But anyway, you can search them, because I mean you're gonna come across the same names on Google as that we spoke to and had meetings with. But basically, the way it works with these market makers is they help the exchanges manipulate the market. And on a normal exchange, they make money whether you win or lose, but they don't profit out of your misery necessarily. You know what I mean? Whereas these leverage platforms, they do. So Bybit and unfortunately now KuCoin and even Binance also have leverage now. I'm pretty sure they do. So all the exchanges that have leverage, they have money to be made when let's say 60% of people are shorting. They have money to be made by making sure that the shorts get liquidated, by basically making the price go up, triggering their stop loss, and then the price comes down again, and then they take their own money and buy at a lower amount. And vice versa, when people are going long. So if 60% of people are going long, they will dip the market to whatever they think most of the stop losses are set to, whatever percentage. Then those longs will get liquidated. And then what will happen is they'll pump the market after that. So those longs would have made money if they hadn't manipulated that first little dip. This is what's happening. Now, if you don't even know about this sort of stuff, I can guarantee you'll lose money. I lose money quite often. I have a thing where overall I make, but I make losses, small losses, small wins, and sometimes fairly big wins. But I also have quite a lot of bad luck as well. But overall, I tend to do okay. I never get wrecked to the stage where I've been wrecked once, but I've made the money back again. But what I'm saying is, even myself, that might have been luck that I made my money back again. I would say it's a real high risk, especially if you're going to leverage trading. Unless you're just some kind of gambler who that's what you want to do, fair enough. If you're gonna throw your money at a gambling machine, you may as well throw it at the shorts and longs market on Bybit. But overall, it's best not to be a gambler. It's best just to say, right, I have this money sitting here. It is going to be worth shitload more one day. Whether you buy in at 3,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or even 20,000, you are going to make some. So just dollar cost average. Buy in when it goes. If it looks like it might never come back down to 10 grand again, buy at 12. Or if it does go down below, down to 6 grand, buy at 6 grand. Just keep buying and buying it and accumulating Bitcoin. And if you do make profits in between, because this is what I really advise when it comes to doing altcoins. Either take less than 30% of what you were planning to dollar cost average into Bitcoin with, right? Or just use your profit off of the gains in Bitcoin to buy into it. And ultimately, let's say you do buy into it with 30%, and then you make gains on these coins. Let's say the other day we had Digibyte doubled in value, right? I bought in at Digibyte at 72 Satoshis, and I sold about 220 Satoshis, right? So that gave me half a Bitcoin profit. I think I put 3 grand into it at some stage, and it ended up being just over double than what I put into it. I sold that out, and I will buy again when it goes near 100. I believe it will go near 100 when we have these turbulent times. Overall, I believe Cardano and even a lot of the privacy coins, they have a bit of time, but privacy coins beware of, because you do have on the horizon Litecoin, and you also have Bitcoin that will be implementing privacy, right? It's not happening now, but they will be implementing it. Companies like Chainalysis have made it such a minefield for people who live in any country with a totalitarian government like the UK or like America, where the government will actually are just too nosy in what you're doing, right? They want to know everything that you're doing. They want to make sure they get every penny of tax. They want to create snares for you so they can steal your wealth. All these things. And in those companies, Chainalysis will help that happen. Not just Chainalysis, but companies like them. They're competitors also, which, again, I can't think of anything, but I've had to go through and look for these companies when we were doing the exchange as well. So they're effectively helping governments claw money from people, right? And this was mentioned in an article, I think, on Cointelegraph recently also. By I know who, regardless of where it appeared, it was by Andreas Antonopoulos who actually mentioned this, and it was a very good call because it is actually true. How these companies that allow blockchain analysis for the purpose of governments tracing money, it's not to do with getting money from money launderers. It's to get money from the average person who's trying to get ahead in life. That's what it's for. So what I'm going to say is that you may still have good chances to buy Bitcoin below 10K, although what I think is going to happen is before the halvening, which is, I think it's around about the 20th, somewhere between the 12th and the 20th, that date can float, of this month, you will see a run up to that halvening event, which basically means for every block that you mine, the block reward gets halved from 12 to, I think it's 6.5. It comes down to bitcoins. That means it was 13 bitcoins now. Yeah. Anyway, it's something around that. So around about 6 Bitcoin, but I'm pretty sure it said 6.5 you get for block reward. Doesn't matter, but it means that you're mining more. Now, look, there's a caveat to this. It means that if it flushes, if the price comes down, that will flush people out of the market. What happens then is the difficulty rate drops. So you could actually have a case where the difficulty rate would drop so much due to, let's say, anything that's an S9 ant miner or what they call ant main miner, or older, or it's one of the older Dragon Mint devices that you're kind of breaking even on now. You may not break even on anymore, especially if the people who have the S17s and S17 pluses and I can't remember some of the other names of the mining companies, but some of the more modern ones, yeah, they're not coming to me. I've got a really bad memory today. Names aren't popping into my head. But you could get to the stage where effectively more than half the hash rate in the world turns their miners off or looks for other blockchains outside of Bitcoin to maybe mine if they can mine those same hash algorithms. So what will end up happening is the difficulty rate could go back to the stage of just being an average of 6K to mine anyway, because despite the block reward halving, the difficulty rate reduces, which means less power to solve these equations. Right, so I'm going to move on from that and say that right now it's probably not, if you're looking to get into dollar cost averaging, you might not want to do it right now, because there is going to be this flurry of panic. And I would say that I'm going to put money where my mouth is here and say that I'll be doing the same thing. I was actually planning to, for the first time in years, buy more crypto, like out of fiat currency. I haven't done that for a long time. Oh no, I did Chainlink a while ago, but other than that, I haven't done it in a long time. Everything I've done through Bitcoin trading over the years. So yeah, I would say if you are dollar cost averaging, it might be, I don't want to be the guy who told you to buy on the upswing when it goes back down to $3,000 or something like that, because it could do. I think it will do. But by Q4 this year, I would say that even if we have a major depression, Bitcoin will start to kick up. So if it's high by then, let's say if it's anything by 3, 6, 10 grand, just be buying in, because it's going to go up more after that. 2021, you can be guaranteed it'll be a bull market, but you never can tell. But when I say guarantee, I'm not meaning I've got a written guarantee for you here. I'm saying you can bet your money. You can yeah, well, I think so. I will be betting my money on the fact that it's going to go up by 2021. There you go. That's probably the best way I can say that. In the meantime, we'll probably head towards, I don't think we're going to break that 14K mark. I do think we're going to get up to 12 or maybe 13. At the very minimum, I think we'll get to 10.5 in this next few days. I'm going to start selling out a little bit of my trading Bitcoin between 10.5 and upwards. Unless I think there's market signals that are going to make it dump down from 9.5K. But if I don't see anything like that, I'm going to be starting to sell out some around about level towards a 12K mark. And if it goes up further, oh well, I'll just handle that, because I'm almost certain that between June, July, August, all the way to Q4 this year, which is October, we will see a dip at some stage. There will be a reversal when people start to leave the banks. That if it even happens, and even if people don't leave the banks, it's when the actual institutions themselves start taking money out of the currency. Even if the moron people keep their money in banks and are dumb enough to keep all their money in there, the institutions, they want to own. As I said back in Jackson Hole video back in start of 2018, what we're seeing at this period now is the banks and institutions accumulating. large corporations like Ernst & Young and all these sort of companies, as mentioned in Chico Crypto the other day, the Modern Investor, they are accumulating. They know, they can see the writings on the wall. They have people who do everything from risk analysis to trend analysis, all this sort of stuff, who can look at where times are going. So you really should be following smart money. And following smart money doesn't mean you'll make money straight away. It just means if you have a strong hand, dollar cost average in, don't get affected when the price goes down, just buy more. Because you're dollar cost averaging, right? You haven't spunked everything on, right, I think it's going to be, this is it, it's at 12K, it's never coming down from here, I'll put all my money on it. Don't be an idiot. Even if you miss out, there's other chances on altcoins. You still can make this. My plan is, if I'm wrong about a retracement back down to the levels of 5.5K, then I'll put a lot more money into Cardano. I'll put a lot on my Tether, well, True USD. I'll put that into Cardano. I'll put it into Digibyte when they go low enough on the, when they go low enough in dollars. But that brings me to my last little part. If whether hodling or trading, this again, why I'm mentioning it, because it matters to both. If you are buying certain projects, whether it be Chainlink, whether it be Zilliqa, another one I like, most of the projects I like are mineable projects, but not all of them. So, or even some of these privacy coins, because they might still have a bit of life in them for the next few years, until you get Litecoin and Bitcoin with privacy. You will probably see still a lot of up gains by Dash and Monero and the likes, and Zcoin and Zcash. So I have got a little bit of them. I keep a stash of them just in case, but it's a stash that I'm happy to lose. And just like I just lost my Monero from this laptop. And just this a thing here about Monero I want to cover right now. Piece of crap coin. Yeah, I like the privacy. It's probably the best privacy coin because it's been proven not to have any risk of being traceable. That's going to be very desirable in the future. So I bought some of it, and just to stash it away as a hodl, right? Unfortunately, they haven't bothered. They've got these coders. You know, you get these coders who don't make things for the public. They make things for people who are Linux specialists. Now, I used to play with Linux years ago, but I'm by no means a Linux guru, right? And I found it really annoying. I wanted to put it on my ledger, one of my ledgers. Here we go. Here's a ledger. Here's a new one actually. So I wanted to stick it on one of these new ledgers, the ones that got the Bluetooth. And because the old ones, these ones here, they don't allow many wallets on them. Probably about 5 or 6 wallets. They max out. These new ones here allow lots more. So anyway, I wanted to do that, and it was a pain in the arse. And they didn't have the actual wallet on there. They only had, you could put a wallet on the device, but the interface to the wallet outside of it, similar to what I had to do with Cardano actually. But Cardano wasn't that difficult. The websites that run Cardano, ADA Lite and a few other ones, they interface so much more easily. I don't like to use my Ether wallet either, but I do have some coins that I have to use my Ether wallet. I'm pretty sure Zilliqa might be one of those actually. But again, it wasn't that difficult. Monero was a pain in the ass. So I ended up putting a Monero wallet on this laptop called My Monero. I know you're not meant to do it, but I thought I'll take the risk. It's not like it's more than 1% of my entire hodl. So I took I copied and pasted to an email my recovery keys, right? They don't work. I have no idea why they won't. It just will not work. I can still access the hard drive on there. So I've tried to stick it on this laptop here, on this what's it called? The Microsoft Surface Pro. I've tried to stick it on there and then bring the folder in, because I can still access the laptop through a remote, like a USB boot drive. I can't get it out. So all I'm going to tell you is be very, very aware that when you make a software wallet, try to restore it in a different system before you even put any money on it. Because it hasn't happened to me before, but I did nearly get locked out back in 2000 and I think the last time I access my Bitcoin wallet at one stage was like 2014 or 15 or something like that, right? And even then, the wallet was quite old. It was called Multibit. That was the Multibit wallet, and the one from Litecoin was the same. I hadn't touched them, so I bought Litecoin I think in 2013 as well. I just left it there, and I went back to access it in 2017, and I couldn't access anything. I had to spend 3 days trying to get into Litecoin, and about a day and a half trying to get into Bitcoin. Updating, what a pain in the ass, thinking you've lost all that Bitcoin. You know what I mean? So be very wary when you use software wallets. These companies can go bust. They won't, even when they haven't gone bust, they won't fucking help you with shit. I had a problem with Coinomi a while ago when I was doing trying to claim my Bitcoin Cash years ago. They were fucking tits in a boot. They were useless. What I should have just done is waited until Ledger did the split, because it splits it for you. And I still got like 1 Bitcoin out of that, I think, from what I hadn't claimed. So that was really good. So yeah, I just say wait for the companies. Either wait for an exchange that is a well-known exchange to do the splits for you. But I mean, you can't trust them either, because I lost 5 Bitcoin on Koinomi. That was a real prick. I mean, these are the situations that will happen to you. And the thing is, you can say don't leave your money in exchanges, because most of my money's not in exchanges. But you have to put it on sometimes, and if it goes tits up while your money's on it, you have lost out. So that's why I would say, another reason why I'd say people don't trade. Just hodl and buy, for God's sakes, buy one of these. Don't mess about with it, relying on a laptop. These things are designed to be hacked into. But the governments have got their back doors into stuff, and that is the same back doors that will be exploited by hackers, okay? So you can't trust anything. And to be honest with you, God's sakes, you even start getting to the point where you think you maybe not even able to trust these. And that's why I would say, spread your risk. If you are going to have it, let's say if you've got more than 50 Bitcoin, if you're a whale, you might want to buy a mixture of Keep Key and Trezor and Ledger and split between them. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, so anyway, it looks like I've lost maybe somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000 worth of Monero. Fuck Monero, I won't be buying it anymore, because it's a pain in the ass. They've designed it in such... Look, you've been around long enough and you haven't fucking designed a bloody a Ledger or Trezor wallet. You're a bunch of fucking assholes, man. Fuck you, fluffy pony. Because it's just useless. Because you're meant to have a product that can actually work for human beings, not a narrow band of fucking IT specialists. And even then, I'm an IT specialist, and I still can't. I'm not willing to put the time in. I don't want to learn a new appliance. I don't want to learn new stuff all the time. Don't want to learn a new phone, like move to HTC and find out that everything's all different. I can't be fucking bothered. To be honest with you, I want to move away from technology as much as I can, as much as I've been in IT for 25 years or longer, if you can't study. Yeah, so dollar cost average, buy in that way. And if you miss out, just remember there's always another opportunity somewhere. And that could be from a project that's going to raise up. It could be from buying, let's say ETH has a dump when Bitcoin doesn't, because sometimes ETH has a pump before Bitcoin does. This looks like whenever ETH or XRP, which I will never ever buy, but when they have a pump, it looks like sometimes it's to force Bitcoin to stop going sideways. You may notice that Bitcoin tracks sideways for a long, long, long time. You'll see out of nowhere, ETH, or it's almost like some other. There's multiple manipulation tools they use, and those are two of the tools they use: XRP or an ETH pump. Anyway, have a look at it next time you see. Next time you look at Bitcoin going sideways, then you see an 8% pump by ETH. You'll usually see it followed by a sizable pump from Bitcoin as well. Or same with the XRP. XRP, you look at the graph, spike up, spike down. Now, the reason why, when people ask why I call XRP a pump and dump coin, is when a coin's not a pump and dump coin, it can have these sharp spikes, but what tends to happen is it goes up, tables out, up, tables out, up. That's how kind of natural growth comes, right? And same as downward. It doesn't just come up and down again. Up and down again. That's a volatile, that's a coin that's being completely manipulated by exchanges and market makers who have enough of the coin to play with the price all they want. Bitcoin's so big that you can't just do that. You can affect it, and by let's say a non-organic pump, for want of a better expression, if it comes in from, let's say, a whole bunch of whales that are printing tether, they can make it spike up, but they can't keep it going forever, because you have people buying into it as well. You have institutions buying in here and there that are not part of the same cartel, who are pumping the coin, right? So that's why Bitcoin is, even though it still is volatile, the volatility comes from a mixture of manipulation and market action, like spot exchanges selling to people who are actually using their helicopter money to buy into Bitcoin, for example, right? So yeah, I think I've gone on a bit long in this episode. How many minutes am I on right now? It doesn't tell me. Oh, well, that's fine. Oh yeah, 34 minutes, probably a little bit too long. Okay, I'm going to get off this. And yeah, in future, I'm going to just talk about things that don't matter to traders, but more to hodlers only. I think I've said that once in the past and didn't stick to my word. So I'm going to stick to my word now, or try to. Not that I didn't try last time. Let me think if there's anything else I missed out. Yeah. What I would advise you do if you are planning to buy into Bitcoin is don't just FOMO in right now. It might be a bad time, but have a watch in the market. Just be ready to go. Even if that means transfer your money in USD or in euros, whatever it is, or in pounds, onto Coinbase. Coinbase is highly unlikely to collapse because they have a good governance structure, and it just wouldn't be worth it. Why would you go into what you know is going to be a massive bull market where you haven't got? MT Gox years ago had a different situation, right? They're based in Japan. It's more likely that they were either genuinely hacked, but I don't think that happened. I think what really happened is they were pressured so heavily by the SEC, remembering that Japan is under America's thumb still since the Second World War. And they were so badgered by the SEC that they were probably given a deal. You rip your customers off on our behalf to defame Bitcoin, and we won't put you in jail. That's what I really believe happened with MT Gox. The same situation is not open to the likes of Bittrex or the likes of even Binance, because Binance don't have to give a shit. I believe that Binance works for the Chinese government. I really do. I don't use them anymore. I don't want to. I don't want to necessarily be helping the Chinese dominate the cryptocurrency market. I don't think it'd be healthy for any one country to have too much control. So I vote with my feet. You know, I even try use like the same as Chico Crypto. I try use CoinGecko. I've been using World Coin Index and on-chain FX for years. So I'm not because mostly because I like to share. I don't like to have any one company become a monopoly, right? So yeah, of course I used CoinMarketCap before, but actually I used on-chain FX before I used CoinMarketCap, and I used CoinGecko as well. When I wanted to see market pairs, you can't do that on. If you want to see a pair between, let's say, DigiByte and Litecoin, you can't do that on. I mean, you can't trade between that in many places, but you still might have to trade between another coin to go to that. But you might be looking at what is the difference between DigiByte and Litecoin, for example. Oh, there's actually a good trading value there that wouldn't be obvious if you were on just looking through CoinMarketCap, looking through the regular trading pairs like ETH to whatever it is, or Bitcoin to whatever it is, right? Again, trading talk. Let me stop doing that. It's not even trading talk because I don't speak like a trader does. They've got all this lingo and everything that I'm not a fan with. So, but I suppose I've got natural ability to be a trader because I've got a natural ability to be an investor. I've always been pretty good at investing. So, I don't care if I know the lingo. You know, it's quite funny. I got into project management years ago and didn't really, the lingo never stuck with me. So I did Prince 2. My degree had Prince 2 and was based on Prince 2 and also PMI. Which is American style project management institute stuff. And I got told by this charlatan in England once, just a useless bitch who was hired by a council for about £800 a day. They hired me for £600 a day. It was good money. But she said, oh, you don't speak project speak. I'm like that's why she didn't want me to work there anymore, because I was ruffling feathers. I was getting things done that she wanted me to. And the government, this is something I've been hearing quite often now. It's really, really good. The people who work in governments are there to occupy a seat to make sure work doesn't get done. Now, I was really glad to see this because it's something I've said for many, many years, having worked in government.